Kia ora tātou, good evening and welcome to the first ever AlbertEden Local Board webinar. Tonight's conversation is on the draft AlbertEden Local Board Plan. Thank you for joining us from the comfort of your own homes. The AlbertEden Local Board Plan is a 3-year document which sets the direction of local council activities happening in your area. Given the challenges posed by COVID-19, climate change, and increased urban density, tonight's conversation is on how the local board is planning to support its communities through these changing times, while ensuring that local priorities stay at the forefront of their minds for the next 3 years. This is an opportunity for you, our local communities, to ask questions on the draft AlbertEden Local Board Plan to make sure that your feedback is informed. Please, if you haven't done so yet, I would like to encourage you to, after this webinar, pop on akhaveyoursay.aucklandcouncil.govt.nz/Albert Eden Plan and provide your feedback. I would also like to encourage you to invite your friends and whānau to do the same, as we'd like to hear from as many people as possible on this plan. Tonight, we're joined by the AlbertEden Local Board Chair, Margie Watson, and the Deputy Chair, Lee Carrick. Behind the scenes, we also have the rest of the board who will be listening in on the conversation and reading your questions. Thank you, board members, for joining us tonight. Thank you also to the local board services team for helping us run this event. Ko Olin toko ingoa. My name is Olin, and I will be your facilitator for tonight. Our conversation will start by a 15-minute presentation from the chair and deputy chair, followed by your questions, which we will make sure to answer as best we can. The session shouldn't last more than 60 minutes, and it will be uploaded online. If we can't get to answering all of your questions, we will also upload those online. But that's enough from me. I would like now to introduce the AlbertEden Local Board Chair, Margie Watson.
Haere mai and welcome to you all. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Margie Watson tako ingoa. My name is Margie Watson and I'm the chair of the AlbertEden Local Board.
Kia ora tātou, ko Lee Carrick toko ingoa. My name is Lee Carrick and I'm the deputy chair of the AlbertEden Local Board.
Firstly, what I'd like to do is introduce you to the local board. So I'm the chair and Lee is the deputy. And on screen you can see a photo of the full board of 8 people. So from the left we've got Graham East, Julia Maskell, Christina Robertson, myself, Benjamin Lee, Lee Carrick, Rachel Langton and Kendall Smith. Together we form the board of 8 people who represent your area, AlbertEden. Now I'll just bring you to a map. So AlbertEden's actually home to 100,000 people, and it's defined by some key landscape features. So we have 3 maunga in our area. We have Mangawhau, Mount Eden, we have Ōwairaka, Mount Albert, and Te Kaupuke, Mount St John. We also have 2 urban streams, Te Awana, Oakley Creek, and Waititiko, Meola Creek. And on the northern and western edges, we have the Waitemata Harbour. So we're really blessed with some beautiful landscape features. Our suburb includes our community includes the suburbs starting from the east of Epsom and Green Lane, Greenwoods Corner, Balmoral, Mount Eden, Sandringham, Kingsland, Morningside, and then to the west, Mount Albert, Ōwairaka, Point Chevalier, Waterview, and then parts of Western Springs and Eden Terrace. As I said before, 100,000 people call AlbertEden's rohi their home. Lots more people work in the area as well. By population, we're the 4th biggest local board in the Auckland area. And our community is growing every day. It's becoming increasingly diverse. And while most of our community is currently European, we have a growing Asian community. Over 30% of people who lived in AlbertEden identified as Asian in the last census. And we've also got increasing numbers of people in the 17 to 39 age group and those over the age of 65. We also know that many families choose to call AlbertEden their home. So I'll just take you through the beginning of our local board plan. So the one we've been working up on for the last 3 years was started in 2017, and we have achieved a lot of the things that we set out to do. I'll take you through some of those key achievements from each of the areas covered in our current local board plan. So the first one was AlbertEden has a strong sense of community. We have every year 10,000 people attend the school's cultural festival, and that's a photo from the cultural festival. But we also deliver we also deliver some placemaking projects in Point Chevalier and Balmoral, and we assist migrants and do some business mentoring and do hikoi or guided walks on Mangawhau, Mount Eden. Our parks are also enjoyed by all. So that photo is a recent photo taken in the last 3 years where we've upgraded sports fields in Gribblehurst Park and Nixon Park. We've completed the redevelopment of Potters Park, and I know that's one of the most popular parks in the Central Isthmus. It's got water, it's got basketball, it's got a new bike track, it's got places in the shade and a beautiful new playground. We have completed Sandringham Reserve and Eric Armishaw Park and Heron Park. In our community spaces that are well used by everyone, we've continued to invest in our libraries. We have 3 libraries, Epsom, Point Chevalier and Mount Albert St Luke's. We have 4 community centres, and we partner up with the YMCA and Belgravia to run the Mount Albert Community and Rec Centre and the Mount Albert Aquatic Centre. Our final goal was around having thriving town centres and growing our local economy. We know our village shopping centres are key to the survival of our communities. So we've worked to complete the upgrade at the Mount Albert Town Centre and work with many of our community business groups to actually support them in the work that they do and make them places that people want to go and to shop. We've also invested in the Excellence Awards for the AlbertEden businesses, and we're now in our 3rd year of that program. So that's a little bit of what we've achieved in the past. Now we've got a few more, which Lee's going to take you through.
Okay, what is our local board plan? It's a document that we set the vision for the local area. However, I think we've just got, can we go back a slide? We have a few more achievements to do. Thanks, Michael. Travelling around AlbertEden, you know, we completed a pedestrian bridge across Taonga, Oakley Creek from Owaraka Park to Underwood Reserve, and that's very, very special because it connects a couple of communities that previously couldn't walk and enjoy the facilities around there. We've also funded pathways and lighting in our parks and walkways, this making it safer and easier to get around, which is very important to us. Our natural culture and heritage is also particularly special. We've completed the restoration project in Almora Rock Forest in Epsom. Not many people know that it exists, but it's very special to us. We funded community-led initiatives to protect and celebrate our heritage. We respect and protect our environment. We've supported our local businesses to become more sustainable and have provided some goals for them to achieve that, and it's been amazing to see the outcomes. We're very, very proud of that and encourage you to look and talk to our businesses about their sustainability practices. We support many local groups with weed control, planting and naturalisation. Also, we've recently established a bike hub at Gribblehurst Park, so get along and have a look. So our local board plan, this is our 3-year vision for the local area. We write it by, as we say, listening to our community. We want to hear what's important to you. So this is what we're doing at the moment. So we want you to tell us what's special, and we have, in our plan, we have our outcomes. These are aspirational. We want you to tell us what you want our community to be like. And there are objectives. This is what we want to actually achieve. And of course, our initiatives are what we do to actually achieve these goals. So this draft plan that we have, we've developed it by hearing from the community for years, and we've referenced our previous local board plan as well. We've used feedback from you in a number of different ways because we have many other consultation processes that I'm sure you're aware of. So we tap into whatever information we can find on AlbertEden. So we analyse local information about our community and environment and how it's changing. We also receive advice from our staff and other members of our council family. We undertook an early consultation earlier this year, just before COVID lockdown. So it was wonderful to be able to talk to people, and we've learned a lot in the informal setting of that initial period. So that was the first phase, which is something we have never done before. So it was really, really great to be able to have that early input to our draft plan. We are now in the phase of the process which we are seeking formal views, and we will be adopting the final version in a few months.
Thanks, Lee. The next section is actually what's in our draft plan for this year. So I'm really pleased to be able to present our 6 key areas we want to focus on. Those outcome areas cover topics that include community, include heritage, character, identity, our economy at a local level and our town centres, our parks and community facilities, the environment and sustainability for our communities, and also some transport options. And within those 6 objectives that are on the screen you can see now, we have 15 objectives, and under that 31 different initiatives that we think will deliver on those goals. We've also found that the key theme for our area is change. We know there's lots of change coming. And we cover that off in outcomes 1 and 2 and also in 5, but they're different sorts of change. So we've got demographic change, we've got the size of the community change, we've got community change in itself and the environment and the challenge of climate change. The other 3 outcomes reflect the topics that the local board have an impact on or can make decisions about. So our focus within those outcomes are planning for the future communities that are going to live in AlbertEden and getting the most out of what we have so we can meet the needs of our growing and really diverse community in AlbertEden.
Thanks, Margie. As Margie has pointed out, we do have a really diverse population, and it's really exciting that we can work to include and share and learn from our different cultures in our community. So we take that approach. We are inclusive in all our work plans. We have a neighbourhood approach to bring people together and networks, hubs and streets. So we also work with not-for-profit groups to fill in the gaps where some of the things that we haven't been able to achieve or other groups do. So we have a good grants process too, where we can encourage groups and individuals to do things in our community. So as a part of resilience too, we're wanting strong neighbourhoods and communities, and with COVID we've been already activated some strengthening for our groups and focused programs to help our community bounce back. Now, we also, for our engagement, it's really important to us that you know who we are and what we do. And we want to hear from you and also be involved in our processes like this. It's really, really important to us that we hear from you.
Thanks, Lee. The second outcome is about our character neighbourhoods and the places that we all call home, although some of us come into the area to work in those places, but we want it to reflect the heritage and what's really special about our area. So for outcome 2, a lot of it's about identity, and it's been really good stewards of the assets that we've got. Our city has a long history. AlbertEden has a lot of history within it. So we want to support others to also do the same. So that's not only from an environmental perspective and natural history perspective, but we also want to support events as we do each year with Anzac Day. For Māori, we want to work alongside Māori in partnership. We want to share the knowledge and the history and the stories they feel enabled to share with us so that everyone gets to know more of the story and the history of our area. And we're currently looking to expand on dual naming of parks so that the names of the parks reflect more about the history, the long occupied history of Tāmaki Makaurau. And in responding to change, we really want to help people learn and participate in some of those processes around intensification and population growth, and that they can participate and have their say when there's change coming to them, a lot of it driven by the Auckland Unitary Plan. We want to also be able to look at sharing the benefits and the opportunities that come to council where we can involve community and to welcome new residents to the area. So Lee, I'm going to pass over to Lee now.
Thanks, Margie. Also, talking about our town centres. Now, we all love to go down, it seems, to our local village or town centre. It's where we meet our friends and just to have another sense of engagement and connection with our people. So we have several villages, like Mount Eden Village and Greenwood's Corner, to the larger ones like Dominion Road and Mount Albert. Vibrant and very special in their own ways. Now, we've been fortunate to have really good relations with our business associations. We also have 3 business improvement districts. These are larger groupings, Kingsland, Dominion Road and Mount Eden. And they do exceptionally good work with their businesses and promoting and having events and making our areas very special for us. And recently we've given our business associations extra funding to help with their COVID recovery. And they are very, very grateful for this, and we're seeing really, really good outcomes from this. So that's rather exciting. Now, in our town centres too, it's not only the shops that are there, but it's the general area, how you feel when you get there. Nice places to sit and attractive footpaths. And so we have a few plans afoot. We have in Sandringham and Greenwood's Corner, in partnership with AT, we're looking to do some work there. And we continue to plan for a civic square in Mount Albert Town Centre. And Point Chev has a few more upgrades in the centre happening too, or planned to happen. So we work with our business association, community groups and Auckland Transport to ensure our town centres are attractive and easy to access.
Thanks, Lee.
Awesome.
Thank you, Lee. Look, I love that last photo. I grew up in Mount Eden, so I think that's just a fantastic photo of the village and the manga in the background. Outcome 4 is around parks and community facilities. We want to ensure that we're reaching the whole community and providing a range of activities that people can be involved in that will be help them keep fit and well and really make it that place to be. So firstly, we want to look at active lifestyles, and to be able to do that, we want to ensure that people have got places to participate in sport. We're aware that we've got a major shortfall of training hours and play hours for formal sport on sports fields. So we want to advocate and push for more sports field upgrade work to occur. We want to provide a range of programs that people can participate in so that they can get active. Around parks and open spaces, we have over 100 parks in the AlbertEden local board area. Some of them are very, very small, and some of them are large sports parks. And on top of that, we have 3 manga in our area, which we're not involved in, but also we know them, along with Cornwall Park, provide opportunities for our community. So in the places that we manage and govern, we want to make sure that they're able to be used for a variety of purposes, and they're maintained at a high quality so that everyone gets to enjoy them. And we've done a lot of planning in the past and rolled out. You will have seen the changes at Potters Park, the changes at Eric Armishaw, the changes at Fouds and at Nixon. So we want to continue with that program. And finally, around community facilities, we have libraries, plus we also have our community centres. So, and we also have many buildings that are available for community lease for the community to use. So we want to maintain our buildings to a high standard, plus also upgrade them to meet the changing needs of our community and enable people to share that space. So there's room for everyone. So that's most of the work around outcome 4, and then that moves us into outcome 5, which is around the natural environment and sustainable lifestyles. So with the environment, we talked earlier about the manga, the creeks and the coast that we look after, but we've also got rock forests that is very unique in the Auckland area, and so we work with community groups around that restoration. We want to continue that program, plus implement more programs where we can incorporate Māori design and implement our Ngāhere strategy, which is around growing the urban forest in Auckland. We've done some early work on that. We want to continue with that program. We want to take a joint approach with our neighbouring boards on the shared waterways. So we share a boundary with the Waitemata Local Board along Waititiko Miola Creek. We share a boundary along Puki Tāpapa and the Fro Local Board around Te Awana Oakley Creek. So we want to work with them to make sure that we're doing the best that we can for that awa going forward. The other part of that is actually that we've got a climate emergency. Auckland Council acknowledges we've got a climate emergency, so we want to work with our community and assist them to live more sustainable lifestyles and to enable them to take climate action. Historically, we've had programs called Eco Neighbourhoods that's done that for small groups of the community. We want to grow the opportunity to deliver more support for community to be more sustainable going forward. That includes the opening of the Waste Recycling Centre for Central Auckland and Western Springs, and also around the opportunity to look at how we dispose of hazardous waste, because putting it in the weekly wheelie bin with the red lid's not the right answer. So we want to look at some options around that. So that's outcome 5. Just moving on to the next outcome, which is outcome 6. I'm going to hand back to Lee. Lee.
Thanks, Margie. Yes, our last outcome, transport. Now, this is important for everyone, I think, because as a Mount Eden, an AlbertEden resident, you'd know that we get through traffic from everywhere, right into the city and across as well, our local board area. And that has benefits as well as drawbacks, and it does impact on our local lifestyle. So we're looking for ways to increase opportunities of different ways to get around for our local people and the wider community. We want to have some good local paths, and we have a local paths plan called a Greenways plan, and that includes doing work that we can actually do and achieve, but also working with other people and we advocate with the governing body to get budget that is greater than what we can actually input. So we also like to advocate for faster and more frequent public transport. We have so many major bus routes coming through our area that it's really, really important that our people can have easy and safe public transport. And one major concern for us all too is our safety. We prioritise pedestrian and safety improvements for cyclists as well. But we have a focus around our town centres and our schools, and also we have several retirement villages across our local board area, and that's really, really important to us too, that we want to enable all members of our community to be able to safely and easily get around as much of our neighbourhood as possible. We are also looking to have reduced speeds in streets, and are currently looking at Point Chevalier and Mount Albert with a few projects there. And we advocate to AT Auckland Transport to do more transport initiatives in our area. So that's the end of the summary for the outcomes, and we'll now move on to some questions and answers, I think. Do we have some questions here?
Kia ora. Thank you so much, Chair Margie and Deputy Chair Lee, for that very informative presentation. I can see some questions trickling in already. And once again, I'd like to invite you to submit your questions, as this is your opportunity to do so. Our first question is, well, not so much a question, but perhaps a comment. And I'd like to see perhaps if our Chair Margie could comment on it. It goes, my interest is about possibilities to increase exposure of arts of minor ethnic community in this district. What do you say to that, Mrs. Chair?
Oh, thank you to the person who asked the question. Absolutely, we've got that in the plan. So under outcome 1, we talked about celebrating diversity and community. So that's where it sits really beautifully under initiatives there. What I would suggest you do is you submit on the plan in support of those types of initiatives and what you would like to see us include in the plan. I know I actually have a printed copy of the plan, but you'll be able to go online and have a look. And it, just referring to that, it talks about supporting arts and events that promote and celebrate unique places and spaces in the board area, share practices that bring different cultures together, and which bring people together to meet and have fun at no extra cost. So that's one of the initiatives we've got. And so when we build the plan and we build our response every year, we'll look at funding the community to run events and activities. So absolutely, that's really part of making it a lively place to live. So thank you for your question.
Kia ora, Chair Margie. Thank you for that very informative answer. To our Deputy Chair Lee, the second question is, Auckland Council has many plans and consultations, and I have provided feedback on them before. Why is this plan important to me and my local community specifically? Over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Olene. Well, it's for your own local input. There's many wider regional plans that are consulted on through the governing body and the wider Auckland Council, but this is specifically for the AlbertEden area, and you can have direct input and give us ideas for the things that you would specifically like to see and to be a part of in your own area. And you know, while we have our ideas of what we thought, we really rely on our community to tell us, and it's quite difficult for some people to actually connect or feel as though they can talk to us. But look, we just want to hear from everybody. We're just, you know, we're locals too. We want to know what you're wanting, and we're open to all suggestions, and it's really, really helpful. So, you know, it's important. We can actually implement things that you might like. So tell us. Thank you.
Just a reminder that local boards and local board members, that's their main purpose, to support you and to advocate for you on local issues, but also Auckland-wide issues. We've got another question. What's next after the plan is adopted? Please tell us how the plan turns into action. Chair Margie, would you like to answer this one?
Absolutely. Thank you. Just checking you can hear me. So we'll sign off the plan later this year after we've heard from you about what's right, what's wrong, what needs a bit of tweaking, what you want us to include that's not there. When we've signed that off, we will then start with our work planning for the next year, and we will look at allocating money to run projects and programs, to run grant schemes, the things that we will go away to the governing body of Auckland Council around securing money for sports field work. So it's just the beginning of the annual planning process for us, and we will prioritise our work according to what's in the plan. So all our decisions are based on the plan. And in addition to that, when we look at people who apply for grants, we'll be looking for people to actually be doing things in their grant application that relate to the plan. So we'll want to know that actually it's not just about us, it's actually about the community as well. So that's some of how we bring it across the line to funding programs and projects and delivering projects that actually meet those goals that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Margie. And I resonate with what you say. I see you working for the community all the time. So this is just a reminder that while this plan is aspirational, it is action-packed for the next 3 years. I can see another question here that goes something like this. How does this plan influence the future of my neighborhood? I think that this question is very relevant at the moment, not just because of COVID-19, but also because of climate change, increased urban density, and so on and so forth. Deputy Chair Lee, would you like to answer this one?
Thanks, Eileen. Well, the plan does influence everything we do. We look into our parks, our community facilities, community programs, and we have identified a lot of change that's happening. So there is a lot going on there, and we need to have your ideas to make sure that we're going along the right way. And I don't know, Margie, have you got any other suggestions for this one?
I also think it gives us the opportunity when we're talking with people doing development in our area. We know we've got some big development coming through, Lee, potentially at the Epsom campus of the University of Auckland, definitely on some of the land that was Unitec. So when we're talking with those partners about what's important at a community level, we can talk about the local board plan, about what we see as the priorities, so they can incorporate some of that into the design of the new communities that they create. And we can work with other partners like Kainoura, who are also doing a lot of development in the area, and go, these are the issues in our area. Please consider these when you're doing your development. So I think it can be used in a lot of different ways, not just what we do, but how we advocate on your behalf as a community to other people doing work in our area. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for that very informative response. I think that looking into the long term is one of the main tenets of this plan, as it is a long-term vision, not just in the immediate term. I'd like to join that by saying that when you provide your feedback tonight or in the coming days, please bear this in mind and remember we're looking at the long term for this plan. I can see another question here that goes something like this. I already do work locally on some of the areas you have outlined in your proposed outcomes. How does this plan fit in with my work, and how can I get support from the board to achieve common goals? I will keep you on camera, Chair Margie. Would you like to give it a go?
Yeah, sure. If you're already doing lots of the things in the local area that fit in with the plan, that's fantastic. Can I say thank you? You know, this is about community at the end of the day. So if you're already doing some of that work and it fits within our plan, we'd love to work with you if we don't already, or if we don't know about the projects that you have underway. So it gives us an opportunity to encourage you to apply for grants. There might be some financial assistance we can provide you to carry on those programs. We grant every year around $300,000 to the community to undertake activities. We can also look at if there's facilities that you might be interested in leasing. We have coordinators that work in the community. We have arts brokers who can work with community groups or individuals who want to run programs in their community. So if you're doing some of the stuff, encourage you to get in touch, submit in support of those things, and then we can work together with some of our brokers and directly with you to make sure we can make it as easy as we can for you, and maybe there's an opportunity to provide you with some financial support along the way, or a place to undertake those activities. Thank you.
Deputy Chair, would you like to elaborate on that or add on to that?
Well, I think Margie has covered it all too, but we do have, as part of our local board team, we have a strategic community broker who is very well connected with all our communities and community groups. And if you are already doing some work in our area, we'd love to hear from you. And this is the part that one of the things that local board members particularly enjoy, getting action from grassroots going in our community. So thanks, Eileen, back to you.
Thank you for that. I can see here another question coming through. Is there a way of encouraging property owners to have grassed areas and plants due to intensification and increasing number of dwellings take just about the whole section? I would like to say this question probably relates to our unitary plan. I'd like to remind us all that the local board plan is in part an advocacy document to respond to and address the issues that affect this area. So it goes beyond just the actionables in our plan. So would Deputy Lee, would you like to say anything on this question?
Put the mic on. I can really identify with your concern about the grass areas and having that recreational and that green space, whether it be a planting area or grass for people to run around. And Arlene was correct, it's covered by a unitary plan, but it just seems that there's, with so much intensification going on, it does seem to take all the extra little slices of space that we've traditionally seen. But that's one of the reasons that we have a real focus on ensuring we can keep green spaces and have active and passive green spaces around. And we would, like you to be able to enjoy the boom if you can too. But the actual enjoyment of open space is integral, I think, to being a happy and secure community. Margie, any further things to add there?
No, I think that covers it because there is a lot of change coming. But we're also trying to address some of those climate change issues. So if we can connect community members together who are really interested in living more low carbon lifestyles and planting, then there's some real opportunities there. So let's hope we can work on some of those, because that brings community together at the same time as creating more green open space.
Thank you for that answer. Yep, that's a very interesting question as we move towards more intensified housing, for sure. We have a question here on it's to do with footpaths and maintenance, and whether there's a place where if communities are going to be represented in that sort of space, or is it just about events, parks, etc. So I imagine it has to do with public transport, accessibility, and the ability to move around. Chair Margie, would you like to address this question?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Elaine. Yeah, footpaths are the bane of many of our lives, I'll admit that. So they have a very limited lifespan, I think, and they get a pretty, they do it pretty tough, I think, with lots of vehicles and lots of people. And unfortunately, it is not the local board's role to maintain and upgrade footpaths. That sits with Auckland Transport, who are part of council, but not the local board. So that's a phone call to Auckland 3553 555 to get your footpaths repaired. If they're dangerous, they're unsafe, we encourage you please to ring Auckland Transport and let them know. When we do meet with them on a regular basis and raise issues that sometimes come through residents, but they're the first stop. That's who will fix it for you. So I always encourage people to go to Auckland Transport first. Sometimes if you're not getting the action you need, the local board are around and perhaps can raise that on your behalf. But around so that's footpaths, and around public transport. So, as Lee talked before, we're at the crossroads of many arterial routes coming into the city centre, from Great South Road in the east right through to Great North Road in the west. And we've got lots of public transport that uses that route. We've got a bus and we've got rail. And we've got motorways, actually. So we sort of do a little bit of everything in AlbertEden. We're trying to balance it with the opportunity to do more walking and cycling, but public transport's a big part of how we get around. So we do advocate to Auckland Transport, ensuring that the network is safe and it's efficient and it's effective and goes where people need it to go. So we continue to try and work with Auckland Transport and to ensure that the services are what they need to be for our community, because it's not just about people travelling through our community, it's actually about the people who live here, work here and go to school here. One of our outcomes is around transport, and it's very focused on safety and the things that we'll advocate to Auckland Transport for. And we're hoping going forward, even though we're coming out of the emergency budget, we're not sure what the long-term impact that will be on our investment and projects going forward. But if there's an opportunity for more transport capital funding to come to the local board, we will focus on and getting the best spend of that for the community for safety. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Chair Markey. I have another question here popping up. The question is, what are the main issues like COVID you are seeking to address in the draft AlbertEden local board plan? Deputy Chair Lee, would you like to answer this question?
Thanks, Eileen. Yes, well, we've got many changes in our facing our community in the next few years. We've got demographic changes. We're having intensification of our neighbourhoods. You know, more houses being needed to take everyone who wants to live in our wonderful neighbourhood. And also we've got climate change. And these all are separate issues, but they're all integrated too, because we want people to be able to, it's really good for people to be able to live sustainably and have good practices and, you know, sharing all sorts of things of life with making a better lifestyle in your neighbourhoods. And we're going to be living on top of each other virtually soon too. So we need to be very careful to make sure that we can actually have quality of life soon. So we do whatever we can. And we're wanting your ideas here too. You know, we've got some good ideas. You know, we talk about climate change and sustainability with our businesses and our community groups. We have something called eco neighbourhoods, where groups of our communities have work on either something like rat trapping or community gardening, teaching each other, working together. And that is also one way of perhaps making up for the lack of berms and, or, you know, the lack of green space in your own house. So there's many ways. All of our sort of outcomes and that they're integrated. We can't see things just separately. Everything is interconnected, and we have, you know, consequences when we do one thing in one area we're looking at. There are other consequences in other areas. So we take a holistic approach and try, as Maggie said, get the balance on these things. And this is where we need your help. Yeah, give us some ideas. Are we getting it right? Thanks, Eileen.
Thank you, Deputy Lee. Something that I was talking about with a colleague earlier today is that she heard on the radio that the local board plan seemed to be planned to address COVID-19, but in reality, the AlbertEden local board has been trying to address all these issues that they've been seeing for a really long time. And one of the main themes that the plan has, as you will read soon, is that item of change and issues that the local board is trying to address and support their communities with. It so happens that we are in the final phases of this plan in this post-COVID-19 environment, but that is the essence really of this plan, to support communities through change. All right, so it seems that questions have dried out. I would like to just move on how can we give our feedback after this really good session. As I said, I would like to encourage you to make submissions online via akhaveyoursay.gov.nz, and that's our website. You can also attend one of our events. You can email us, and you can also send us letters. You will have a look. You can see our events in the screen. We've got a couple coming up. One of them is going to be on the whole plan. We're also going to have an event focused solely on environment and sustainability. And we're also going to have a focused event on how to empower our local communities and those well-engaged groups. So thank you so much for that question that was just asked. That is very pertinent to that specific event. If I may just encourage our chair and deputy chair to finalize this meeting with some closing remarks, perhaps from our chair, Margie.
Oh, look, thank you. First of all, Lee and I will be at those 3 sessions that we just talked about and are on screen, so you can catch up one-to-one with us. But we are about wanting to be out there in the community more and hearing more from you about what's important. So please come along to those sessions. But I encourage you all to submit and have your say around, you know, have we got the plan right? If we've not got it quite right, please let us know. We do want to hear from you. I want to thank you in advance for those submissions that might come in, plus also thank those people that have tuned in tonight. It's really important we do this together. This is about our community that we can build together, and we want to invest in the right places that deliver the best outcomes for all of us, whatever our age, wherever we live, and whatever interests us. So please submit. This is your opportunity to help form the neighbourhood that you live in and the community that you're part of. So yeah, thank you very much. Kia ora.
Thank you, Chair Margie. Deputy Chair Lee, would you like to say some closing remarks?
Yes, thanks, Eileen. Well, yes, I just want to reiterate what Margie said. It's really, really important that we hear from you, and also to let you know that we do actually read your submissions and we get a lot out of it. It takes time, but it really, really makes a difference. You know, it's one thing to read that we've got this number of submissions talking about this, but actually reading the actual words is really, really significant. It gives us real depth to make better decisions. So we sincerely appreciate your time. So please do. And ka kite anō.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. To all the people that are joining us tonight, please remember that board members really rely on your input to know what's most important to you. They're going to have to make some difficult decisions on very tight budgets. And so it's more important than ever that you have your say. He waka eke noa. We're all in this together as we plan for the future of our local communities. Thank you, board members, for joining us tonight, to the team that has enabled this webinar to run smoothly, and thank you most especially to our local communities for joining us today and help build the future of our local neighborhoods. You have until the 13th of August to have your say, so please go online and let us know your thoughts. Thank you.